amazing human beings coming together for one sole purpose to talk about the power of surrender, the power that can happen in your life when you actually step out and let God step in.
So I am tuning in from Texas, a small town in Texas, closer to Fort Worth. And to piggyback off of what you said, Elena, just all of these people, what a great community this is, and to see that everybody has been on here since the beginning and pretty close to the beginning. And thank you for having me. Gosh, thanks to everyone that was here that shared their stories. Also very relatable for sure. But thank you for the opportunity and everything that you do, Elena, and for including me.
Oh, absolutely. And Tish is also one of the authors in our Surrender to Rise, the very first release. Her and I go back to like 2019, and there's just a deep connection. And I was waiting for this moment for Tish to come on because we're doing something pretty amazing next. All
Yes.
right. And like I'm just gonna say it because I called Tish and I was just like, okay, here's another crazy thing and what I'm being led to do, but I need you. I actually told Tish, like, God is saying that you need to be a part of this with me, and this project needs you. And we had a great conversation. But I want each of you guys to know, because you're the first to hear, that I am launching a kind of a streaming TV channel called Prospera TV Network, and it's Prosper and Era. So it's our Prosper era. And with Tish's background of how she went from podcast to radio, and just our journey together, I'm like, you have to be a part of this. And so I want to encourage everyone to subscribe to our channel because it's just getting started. It's Prospera TV Network on YouTube, and we will be under Diamond Factor Network. But guys, this is going to be huge because if you liked a little bit of what you saw today, every show that I have on that channel is going to touch you in some way, shape, or form. So I was waiting. So thank you, Tish. So
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I'm so
let's
excited. I cannot
yeah,
wait.
yeah. Let's dive into your surrender. I don't even know where to start with you. So I'm just gonna let you talk.
Yeah, no, I know. I mean, like everyone else here, and kind of like you said, Elena, seasons come and seasons go, and some of us are in a really good season, and some of us are in the beginning or the midst or nearing the end of a unpleasant season, possibly. So, first of all, I'm just so grateful for the opportunity that you gave me to be a small part of this book with other amazing women that are sharing and touching and changing lives. And I think that that's what this is all about. Everyone that has been here being so transparent and brave to come on and be so vulnerable and to share. But like I've heard other people say, in order for us to be able to help someone else, we have to share our testimonies, and everybody has a story. Everybody has a story. And for me, I felt like, and I've said it before and I'll say it again and I'll say it every time, but um, all that I've been through, for me, I just kept hearing the Lord tell me whenever I was saying no to the podcast, no to the radio station, no to Elena Rodriguez, no, no, no. And Elena and I just met by, I was scrolling through a post that she made, and it wasn't by chance. It was all God for sure, because here we are now, right, Elena?
Yeah.
But he won't let you say no. He's going to keep on and on and on, because he I heard the words he told me, and I felt like, what kind of person would I be if I don't tell everybody about the goodness of God and what God has gotten me through, me and my family? How can I keep that to myself? So I consider it an honor. It's not an all about me. This is me. Look at me. That's not what this is about. This is about look at God. Look what God can do if you surrender. So a little bit of my story, I guess, from the beginning. And I love my parents both. They're both amazing, incredible parents. They did the best that they could. We all do. And unfortunately, my dad was a raging alcoholic. He was a genius, a Navy man, a perfectionist, and being a raging alcoholic and a perfectionist for imperfect children that's a tough gig, man. I mean, to try to do things the way that he wanted them done exactly, and if you didn't do them that way, we were beaten or we were verbally, emotionally, mentally abused. And so he controlled, everything. Everything was his way or the highway, or don't talk, don't speak, don't ask for help. Um, I don't want to see you, children that were seen and unheard. And while a lot of negativity came from that, and I had to start peeling the layers, thank God for self realization and God's revelations that you start realizing, I don't think that's the right way to be, or why am I this way? And probably in my late 30s, early 40s, those bad habits or things that were taught to me that I learned, I started to unlearn. And but a lot of good things came from that as well. Be learning how to not ask for help, and that one is good and bad. But the strength that I gained from being able to do things on my own and not asking for help, that was pivotal whenever things started happening in my life. So, I thank my dad for the good, and yes, I thank him for the bad, because I learned ways to not be, and I learned how to unlearn some bad habits and behaviors. Um, from him being an alcoholic, I well, let me start back. So I was married, the white picket fence, a boy and a girl, a dog, a home, a brand new home, and a husband that I thought I was going to be married to forever. Of course, none of us get married to think that we're ever going to get divorced, right? So I thought that I would be married to this man forever. Unfortunately, he made some choices that, while I was a stay-at-home mom, he made some choices that led him to prison. He hurt a family member of mine, and overnight he went to prison. And but overnight I became a single mother. I was a stay-at-home mother. I hadn't been working, but it's amazing how God puts people in your path, and you don't even realize it until you surrender, right? So I didn't even know that these people that I'd met in my pathway when I was coaching, after I got a job, that I was going to need those people, or those people were going to pop up. Um, God put them in the path, and but he went to prison. He had our car towed from the driveway. He had even texted and said, "Hey, look outside your window," and I did. He was a narcissist as well, but I looked out the window and there goes the car that carried my 2.5-year-old daughter and my 7-year-old son to school. And I thought, why on earth? I wasn't making hardly any money. Would literally be strolling my daughter around the block, literally looking for pennies and change to roll for them for my son for lunch money for the next day. Um, was on my knees every night praying that I would get some sort of transportation, maybe a taxi, maybe a bus would come through this very small town. That wasn't going to happen. But my children witnessed prayer, and they were on their knees praying with me. And we would pray, just please help mommy. Please help us, walk to where we need to go to safely. We were walking to the washateria with our clothes in our baskets. We were walking to school and back from school. Every once in a while, we would get a ride whenever it was raining or whatnot. And then the Lord carried me to a church. I too am an introvert, but I'm a radio show and a podcaster. Love people, love to talk to people, but when I've had enough, I'm like, bye, I'm done. Um, but he literally carried me to church, and a lot of it is blurry. It's kind of foggy because I don't really remember. It was all him. I remember walking with my two kids in tow to the front door, and for the first time in a long time, after my husband or ex-husband went to prison, a man asked me, "How are you doing?" And I started bawling. I was so embarrassed, because we keep things so bottled up, and we feel so uh, just we just feel we feel like we can't be weak, and by crying and by telling somebody this is what's going on in my life, when it really is, and I know it's cliche, but it really is a signal or a sign of strength. You're so strong by opening up and letting other people in. And so I guess I must have told him that my story, um, and I had no clue that this particular church had a ministry, a Cars for Christ ministry. And he said, again, it was all God. God spoke for me and did everything because I don't really remember. I guess he told me to write a letter, and I did. And and what I heard was there were hundreds of people, possibly thousands of people that were writing letters to this Cars for Christ ministry, but that the letters would be prayed over. And there was one car available because the cars became available through people that wanted to donate their cars. And I got a call, and the pastor there said, "Hey, Miss Tish, guess what? We got a car for you." And I thought, no way. There is no way that this happens. Who gives somebody a car, and why is it me? And so I have to tell you guys this because, like everyone was saying, these journeys are not necessarily about us or just us. So I got a ride to go pick up this car. And normally on a day where I would go and pick up my son, my daughter would be with me. I would stroll her to the school. Well, I happened to get up to the school, and he came out. He was 7 then. He's almost 29 now. But he came out and he said, "Mommy, where's Caroline?" And I said, "Oh, she's with a neighbor." And I started walking the opposite direction. He goes, "Mommy, where are we going?" And I showed him that we had keys, and I pointed to, and believe me, I'm grateful for this car, but it was a green, kind of a lime green, like a 90 or 89 Beretta. Um, but he said, he was running down the sidewalk, and he said, "Mommy, God really does answer prayers." And so on my knees praying for God to help me, and them being on their knees with me, um, it's faith in action, like I've heard today. It is faith in action. People witness, they see. And that's why this whole event is so important, that people can see and hear how God was in action in your life. And when you think that he's not there, because I don't think that I was angry at God, but I knew that God could take my anger. I was angry, and it just kind of goes back to that. When people are angry or they take their anger out on you, they take it out on the people that they love the most because they know that you can handle it. And that's how I see God. I see God as someone that, boy, I am pissed, and what is going on, and why is this happening? But I don't think I was really ever angry at him, but I was angry. But he took it, he handled it, and not only did he answer my prayers, but he opened doors for my son, who saw that God is good and God is real, and he became a youth pastor in his older age. So the trajectory of our lives changed. And I could have been at the bottom of the barrel, and I was for a while. And it is okay. I said in my chapter, it's okay to be at the bottom of the barrel. Just don't stay there. That it's dangerous when you do, because depression, which we all go through, can set in, and it can set in for a lot longer than you want it to. So,
I number one, you got me in tears over here, so thank you for that. Um, just because you feel the love, like God is so present in. That was my whole hope, for today, was just, God, just be present, just be present over all of us. But you just mentioned depressed, and one of my friends messaged to me the other day, and she said, what if depressed really is just deep rest?
Mm.
And that just hit me, like it hit me. I haven't heard from her in like 2 years. And we got friends like that, right? That just kind of pop in and then they pop out. But she just out of nowhere messaged and said, "What if depressed really means deep rest?"
Mm.
And I took that in because I realized I wasn't feeling depressed, but I needed deep rest,
Wow.
and so even by you just saying, depressed. So so for you, like, there's so much that
Mm.
you have come through. You do have a podcast, and I do want to encourage people to tune in because it's no judgment here.
Yes, No Judgment Here with Tish Ross, the podcast. It's on YouTube. And
Yes,
I have
and
met people from, I've been honored, like you, Elena, like all of us are in this community, to meet so many amazing, incredible people. I've been honored to meet people who are addicted, who are still in the midst of addiction and trying to claw their way out. And it comes without judgment. Come and share your story, be who you are. The whole reason for the podcast is so that people will know that they're not alone, and to encourage hope, that there is hope. People that are homeless, people that escaped sex trafficking, people that, there was a couple that came on, and the husband had cancer and the wife was angry, and he was okay with God, but the wife was angry with God. Just two different, very transparent, very real perspectives.
Mhm.
um he's no longer with us, and but she and I are still very good friends. Women and men that were victims of abuse, domestic violence. It just, so many people have come on to share, and it has been such an honor. And I hope that if anybody here ever wants to come on and join Elena and I in our journey together, I would love to have you on as a guest. Just to come and share your story. And I think that it helps us when we share our stories, right? So it's a blessing to us, and I think that it's also healing when someone comes on to share their stories. And one of the other things that whenever we were younger, and I'll tell you, God will get you out of, when he reveals to you what the things that you need to unlearn, and you do surrender. On I was on my knees surrendering, please, I've got nothing. I've got nothing. I can't even do this by myself. And that's what he wants. He wants you to
Mhm.
say, you can't do it by yourself. You cannot do it without me. And that is the truth. And I was trying, doing things, and I thought I was making good decisions and whatnot. And until I was truly like, I'm done. I can't do this. You're going to have to take over. Thank God he did. Thank God for the surrender, because then comes the rise. And one of the things that he helped me with, and I was very humbled with it, is while my dad teaching me not to ask for help was a good thing, it helped with self strength and trying to get things done on my own and by myself. But it also did a disservice, because when I was at just the bottom of the barrel, didn't have any money, looking for pennies, had garage sales to pay the electric bill, pawn things to pay the water bill, things like that. There was a time when we literally, I think I had a loaf of bread and some peanut butter. And one of my friends, her name was, get this, her name was Elena. And she came into my life through the place that I was coaching when I was working. She came into my life. She was an angel, because I don't know where she is now. But I was telling her my story, and it's not a story that you want to tell everybody, because that's why my podcast is called No Judgment Here, because I was afraid that I was going to be judged. I was afraid I was going to lose friends and family. And I guess when you do lose those people, then it is true, you know who really is in your corner. But she too was a single mother. She had two daughters, and she was on food stamps, something that I was too proud to get on. And she called one day and she's like, "What are you doing?" And I said, "Oh, we're eating lunch." She goes, "What you eating?" And I said, "Oh, I'm fixing the kids a peanut butter sandwich." And she said, "Well, what else do you have? What are you guys going to eat for dinner?" And, it was hard for me to even bring myself to tell her, well, peanut butter sandwiches. And she goes, "What are you going to eat for dinner?" And I told her. And boy, God was like, "I'm going to get you out of this. You're going to stop not asking for help." because she said, well, I've got some food stamps. I still have some money left on the food stamps, and I'm going to come and pick you up. And I thought, hell no. I am not only am I not going to ask for help, but I am not going to take your food stamps. Like, there's no way, that's for you and your children. And she said, nope, we've already spent the money that we need. If I don't use it by the end of the month, which is another week and a half away, I'm going to lose it. And so I want you to go shopping with me. And so that was right before I had received the car, and I was like, I'm not doing it. And she said, well, I'm on my way. So she came to pick me up. It was humiliating, but it was also humbling, and my eyes opened as to what it is to bless somebody when you want to help somebody, that it's a blessing, and also that it's okay to ask for help. It's okay. There is no shame in asking for it, and God will provide those people, ready or not, He will.
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, because it is so true. God will put um, the people in our path that sometimes we don't even know that we need, right? But He knows that we need. And so this has been absolutely amazing. What do we have here? Okay, so Margie, she must have had to jump off. So what can you tell, before we wrap up here, what can you tell the one person that might be feeling like, I'm still too proud to ask for help? I mean, because that's a hard thing. Like, that's a hard thing to, sometimes you have to work on it again and again and again and again. So what can you just kind of tell somebody who's listening, and you're touching their heart, and they know they need to break that barrier down? What little wisdom can you share with them?
First of all, I feel you. I feel you today too. I mean, I know that God has helped me, and that was huge for me. And it really wasn't even me saying yes; it was someone else coming to get me. A good community, get involved in a good community. Um, but to know that while the enemy wants to keep you in shame, and that's what he wants you to do, he wants you to remain shameful. He doesn't want you to ask for help because he doesn't want you to know how good God is. And had I not got in the car with Elena, um, I think that that was very revealing in how God does not want to keep you in your shame. There are people that are there to help you. Um, the enemy will keep you in any way, shape, or form. He'll keep you down. I understand that it is very hard. Boy, I know it is. I know it is. But there are people that say you rob others of their blessings if you don't reach out. You rob people of their blessings. Those people that are meant to, that God is called to serve Him in a way to bless others, they're out there. Reach out to community, reach out to a friend, and just be vulnerable, transparent, and just tell them that you need help. And maybe they can't help you, but maybe they can direct you to someone that can. But what I want to say is the enemy wants to keep you in shame. And by keeping your mouth closed, you're going to stay there.
Wow. And there it is, folks. I love you. I absolutely love you. Jesus will call us by our name. The enemy will call us by our shame. Wow.
Absolutely. That is the truth.
Yes. Amen, Esther. So, Tish, thank you so much, my dear friend. I mean, and that's just without saying, like, I absolutely love you, and I'm excited for what we have
Mm-hmm.
coming up next to continue to share this, just the power of God, of what He can do.
Absolutely.
And I just want to, thank you for sharing with us, and let's go, man.
And it's a pleasure. It is a pleasure. This has been amazing. I thank you for the opportunity. I thank everybody here for their support. And I'm thankful that most of the faces on here are their pictures. They're not they're people. It was as many times as I've done this, it's a little nerve wracking. So I'm
Mhm.
happy to be here. And I thank you, Elena, for the opportunity. May God bless you tenfold for everything that you're doing for so many people. So thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to our next journey.